not the worst thing I ever done. I mixed up all this fake puke at home, and then I went to this movie theater, hid the puke in my jacket, climbed up to the balcony, and then I made a noise like this. And then I dumped it over the side. And all the people in the audience, then this was horrible. All the people started getting sick and throwing up all over each other. I never felt so bad in my entire life.
Mom, they're gonna like this kid.
What's up? Back again. Episode 8 of the incredible BC Poppas podcast featuring Coach Jojo Casilao and special guest once again, Doug Dorris.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Pretty good. I didn't know this was the Corey Feldman Film Institute.
Dude, for real. So
every time he's starring in a movie, you're gonna be in it.
Yeah, next Lost Boys. Let's do Lost Boys.
well, that's what the last one when you came on, Doug, we did kind of, what was it, Stand By Me?
Yeah.
With an awesome artwork for the fan poster. You guys didn't catch that? You gotta check out the Photoshop skills. But yeah, so Stand By Me was I think it was 1987 movie, right? And I think this Goonies. So if you guys are watching, then I don't know if you can even see it on the video. We got our.
It's 85, I think.
This is the Goonies is 85. Yeah. So we all just watched the Goonies, here in studio.
It's so fancy. We have a studio.
But I don't know, man. I remember, I love the Goonies when I was a kid. You know, I thought it was just so much fun. I didn't watch it in the theater. Did you watch it in the theater, Doug?
No, I think it was a VHS.
VHS,
No,
yep.
nice.
Yep.
I think I watched it.
I really don't remember, to be honest. Yeah.
Television or something. And then
Like on cable or something?
No, in local like TV they used to
With
like,
commercials.
Sundays. Yeah, Sundays but it's I bet it's like the cut off version or like something.
Like
There's
edited,
no
TV edit.
Yeah, TV edit.
Hey, so Joe, did you, when you're growing up, what was your access to like American movies and things like that? This is the 80s. Like what was it like?
No, it's just we only have like I think like 3 channels in total.
Okay.
No cable, no nothing.
And it was mostly Filipino programming?
Not
or?
necessarily. So it's like all over. They have like Filipino programs in like certain times, like prime time. That's all like Filipino. But if you're in the mornings or like late night, that's like obviously like American.
So they had American movies?
Yeah,
And
and
then-
TV series.
and TV series. Yeah.
Were they
Yeah.
dubbed? Were they American movies dubbed?
No. So it's late. That's really weird now. But
Yeah,
later,
but they have that now.
Now-
like on
now
that
it's like
ABS,
popular,
CBN
but-
or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
Or whatever
before,
that is, whatever.
before it's not dubbed or anything.
I actually have a friend in Manila. That's his job. I think it was for cartoons.
Voiceover?
Tagalog voiceovers for
Nice.
cartoons. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he's a nurse like everyone else, but he actually ended up doing that. And,
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still doing it. I haven't spoken to him in a couple of years,
Like,
but
before when I was a kid, the radio was really popular, like radio drama.
yeah,
So
yeah.
How old are you, dude?
no.
the 20s, 19s.
No, like here because hey, in the
Little Orphan
80s,
Annie.
in the 80s we have like 3 channels. Come on, man, that's it. But like that's the radio drama. I have a neighbor before who works for the thing. He's like voiceovers. So they do like a ding 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 ding. They do like the sound effects and everything. Like
And that's like
Dude, that's what we need on this podcast, man. You need some
we need
sound
like a
effects.
sound
need a
effect
bell.
guy.
Yeah.
Hey, Carlo, can you make some
Like, you
sound?
should do that like in the
You press a
intro.
button.
It's like, all right, time to go down to the studio, and then you do like the stepping on like you're going
Foley
downstairs.
artist.
yeah, that's.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
I didn't know
because
I'm riding a horse.
You go watch movies in California, anyways. Or they got AMC right over where you're.
Yeah.
So they have those like. Now they have commercials. They have commercials in movies now before you start.
Yeah,
movies
like
there.
Pepsi
So
and stuff.
before it was just like features and like the previews, right? So that's where I learned the Foley artist. They did some whole preview on something. It's funny, but Hey, because what you hear on the TV, it's not
No.
like an
Yeah,
actual
no.
like if someone gets punched or
Yeah.
something like that, they have to make all these.
Some of
sound
the
effects.
dialogues they even redub it.
Yeah, like if you can't see their face.
Yeah, or
They redo the-
like on site or something, they don't have like enough like audio. They have to. dub
It's
it together.
funny because we're doing these things where we're looking at old movies and you see like the technology obviously changes. You know, we had a little bit of like CGI in the Goonies, and it was just you can tell like it's like when they're going out through the hole and escaping, but that wasn't the scene behind. You can tell it's like a little movie in the background or something like that, you know. So I mean, but I don't care, you know. I mean, for
Yeah.
me, it's cool, you know. But so it's such a different time because
It's nostalgic, yeah.
yeah,
You watch
know,
it.
I
yeah.
mean, but do your kids? Cause so you let your kids watch it,
Yeah.
the Goonies this
I-
weekend,
I
right?
let him watch it a couple years ago too, and then because I think a few years ago I was trying to find like movies that like I remember like growing up with, and like Goonies was one of them, and also what's that other one? E.T. things like
E.T.,
that,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And like, but when they see the, clearly like a green screen in the back, or not even the old movie projector thing in the back,
Yeah.
they're like, man, what is that?
Yeah,
Like
they
it's
don't
so
even
fake.
know.
It's so fake.
They
But
don't see
when we were
the-
kids, man, those are real bats.
You
man.
remember back in the day they would film like miniatures? I mean, I think they still
Yeah,
do something
they do
like
that
that
sometimes
now.
still, yeah.
But what's this? Real quick. So Doug, you have two boys, Jake and Ben. How old are they?
12 and 9, about to be 13 and 10.
Okay, and Jojo, your kids are how old?
11, 6, and 4.
Oh, what do I have? Oh, I have, okay, my two boys, Judah's the oldest is 11, and James just turned 8. So, yeah, I mean, last time we watched Stand By Me, and for me, I was like, they're not ready. Both of them, at least
Yeah.
together, weren't ready, I thought,
Yeah.
to watch that.
Yeah.
But this, I've already shown them.
Yeah.
And the best thing that they like is when the kids say shit.
Yeah, same thing with Jake. Yeah, he's like really cracking up.
Oh, and then
Or when they've thought about what the one-eyed Willie could also reference.
yeah. So if you guys haven't watched the Goonies, if you're listening and you haven't watched the Goonies, it's a movie from 1985. It's about I should just read the synopsis or whatever it is, but it's about a bunch of kids who go on a treasure hunt adventure to hopefully get the treasure and save their homes from being foreclosed on, and they find the pirates' treasure, and they get to fight against the criminal family, the Fratellis. And I mean, my kids thought it was great. You know, they liked that the treasure hunting thing, the adventure. But one thing I thought was different than the way they grow up now is like when we were young. Yeah, we could just leave our house with our parents running around and just bike around the whole
Yeah,
town.
I was
Stuff
thinking the
like
exact
that.
same thing. Now, like, shoot, because that's what I did when I was a kid. I would wake up, especially in the summer. I'd get on my bike at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't come home until dinner.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'd come in and stop off for some lunch. But you'd always eat at a friend's house generally. But like, man, here, kids aren't doing that.
Yeah.
There's like, oh, hey, it's too hot, or their mom, of course, wouldn't let
Won't
them
let them go out.
yeah.
Are the yayas following them around?
Yeah, with a handkerchief in the back of their neck.
But I think even in the U.S., like
now.
you've got all these like activities. I feel like that we plan into our kids where what's the time where they would even think about, like we used to do that, go on ventures and like you go in neighborhood and then you go a little farther than your neighborhood and see who's in the other neighborhoods
Yeah.
or something like that. I mean, that would happen. Oh, yeah,
Rival gang.
Yeah, I mean, gang. Not gangs, but no, but yeah, and I don't think it's like, would you see your kids? Are you gonna let your kids just go out like even in your subdivision?
No, But one time, my eldest Aika, so she went home like commuted on her way home from school.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a pretty big deal. But like all of us, my mom was waiting on like near the where she gonna get off the jeepney, right? We were waiting there. We were waiting for like 30 minutes in the waiting shed.
Just to wait to see. Is it this Jeep?
You could have just went and picked her up.
but it's funny, like that's the pretty big deal. Like, but I'm like super proud of her, like that she's like.
Well, she didn't think it was a big deal, right?
No,
she was
no.
like, I know how to get around.
But we're really like scared.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's funny. We're here sometimes at the gym, and Judah and James will want to go buy something at the Sorry store, right?
Just so
and
close.
I'm like, hey, just watch each other. Make sure you just come right back. I mean, shoot, we were walking to the liquor store when we were kids and spending our money playing video games. There'd be older kids there that you didn't know, and now we're so worried.
Yeah.
Even Marsha, he's like, don't let them go to the bathroom by themselves.
Yeah.
So. I mean, it's real because there's these bad stories that happen, but it's a different. I mean, it's different than what we watched in the movies. It just doesn't really happen like that unless they're bad kids or something. This is just normal kids.
Getting bullied or something, but that's a different story. But it's like, I'm just worried about the guy in the van with all the candy.
Right.
Still swinging up. Hey kid,
But
what are you
you
doing?
like candy?
But I'm guessing that it happened. It also like was happening in that era.
Yeah.
But we're just it's like now it's just so we can see it like.
Well,
like I mean.
Check this out. So we were laughing about Corey Feldman was in Stand By Me. Corey Feldman was here in the Goonies. And you talk about it happening and these things, people preying on your kids.
You're right. Yeah.
I mean, Corey Feldman, his whole story being in Hollywood, being like taken advantage of and like by executives as well as like other actors. I mean,
it's reality.
It's reality. It happens, I mean, so, man, you just kind of happy nothing. If you got out of childhood without any too much trouble,
Yeah. I guess I think when you do get out of it without anything like that happening, or even being around anything like that, you like, it's like, oh, that can't be real. That's just Hollywood. That's for the movies. So you don't really, you take it for granted that you're, it's like, oh, everyone's living like me, you know what I mean?
Well, what's the level do you think of, okay, at this age, for each of your kids, or when you think of them, well, let's go with like the oldest ones, what type of independence do you think they should have now, or like that you want for them? You're like, man, I want them to be able to do this by themselves, or what? Is there anything like right now that they're not doing that you did when you were a kid, or that you want them to be able to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different though, because we're living in the Philippines. It's a different situation, because at their age, shoot, I was cutting the grass, I was doing different stuff. Here, I mean, God, you can barely get them to make their own bed, in the morning. You gotta like really get on them. But like, I kind of, especially now, the 12-year-old, he's going on 13. He's more starting to test his, spread his wings a little bit. I think, he still hangs out with a good crowd. Like he doesn't he's not getting in any trouble. Still focused well in school and sports and everything. So I'm not worried about anything, but you hear stories about kids that are in his group batch that are getting into some trouble. They're like, so I think we worry a little bit about that. But you got to let him make his own mistakes. You can't shelter him because when you shelter them, then they can't do anything for themselves. So it's a fine line. You gotta let them mess up. Otherwise they won't learn. At the same time, but you don't want them to mess up so bad that it's
no going back.
Catastrophic that it there's weird pictures rolling around on the internet or something.
I don't know. I mean, so when I was that same age in the movies, I was left home alone a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I know.
Well, latchkey kids, right?
Your siblings were older than you, and my sister was much older than me. You guys, Joe, were all around the same age, so you were together.
Yeah, we were together.
You weren't alone.
My parents not working and stuff, but we're...
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really allow me to go out by myself when I was home alone. They would but once they got home, I was gone. That was my time to go out, and they didn't know where I was. They knew I was biking around the neighborhood. I could be like, 3 miles away or something. Like, I mean, it's a big neighborhood, and so I mean, if I got hurt out at the park by myself, there would be nobody to help me, man. I mean, you're out there by yourself looking for your friends sometimes. Where are they at? And you're far. I mean, it's not like your dad can just run across the street. It wasn't just across the street from us. So I think about that, and like, I mean, it's a funny movie, but obviously those guys were. I mean, there was a dead body. There was these guys that killed the criminals and killed someone. You forget about it. I think it's just a fun movie. I'm like, oh, dude, they just shot that dude. They shot the Fed and put him in the freezer.
Yeah.
They were trying to get rid of dead bodies, and it's just like a fun kid movie.
I guess you still got to suspend disbelief with the.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, where are their parents? What are they doing?
Yeah, like where are their parents?
Realize.
But yeah, I don't know. What was it's funny when you look back at this movie, you look at the actors that were in it, who's still working now.
Oh yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
The cast was.
You see these child actors, and
Yeah, they usually flame out.
Yeah.
Once they hit puberty, I think.
so you got we talked about
Josh Brolin.
Feldman, right?
Yeah, Feldman.
He had a tough
Yeah.
upbringing. He's not really. He's like a weird guy now. People don't think of him
But
as
it was
like.
big in the 80s
Yeah.
and then like early 90s.
He had a lot of those teen movies with
After
Corey
beyond
Haim.
that, it's a little.
In that special relationship with Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah, dude, where he's dressing the same as him, and like, hey, dude, I saw him.
Was that a Pepsi commercial?
Yo.
I
It
don't know
wasn't
if he's
me. Michael Jackson with Pepsi, right?
Michael Jackson
wasn't
was with
that how he
Pepsi.
got his hair burned off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Pepsi. All
Tito
up in
had
this-
to put his hair out.
Yeah.
With
And then,
Is that Tito?
Poor Pepsi. No, I'm just kidding.
And then
He poured Pepsi on it with
Corey
caramelized.
Feldman had a band. He has a band. Remember?
Oh
Yeah.
He
with
was
the-
he was like an artist.
Yeah.
Feldman. Yeah.
It was
Nick,
weird.
he was
though.
always hanging out with like those at the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah. So he had a band.
Well, I mean, I guess he probably didn't envision his career.
No,
going like
I
that,
met
but-
him. I didn't like meet him, but like I was in Miami for something, and then Christina and I were at some restaurant, and then in walks this guy, and I was like, hey, I think that's Corey Feldman, and he's like with this, like he's not a very big guy, he's
Yeah.
like pretty
Yeah,
short,
yeah.
and like but he's with this like really tall, like blonde, like with like huge boobs and like a really tight dress, and I'm like, hey, that's Corey Feldman, and like.
Were you like, Corey, you're doing all right.
Yeah.
You're doing all
He
right.
ain't doing that bad.
Yeah.
So it was weird, man.
His face is jacked up or something?
He looked like he has, it looks like he wore a lot of makeup, and he dresses like he's like some kind of like '80s rock star.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like
funny.
it's weird.
But who do you think's the star of this movie?
What's his name?
Is it Mikey?
Mikey,
Frodo.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sean Astin. Yeah.
Sean
Sean,
Astin,
he
Rudy!
was Rudy.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good movie.
Dude,
That's a good movie.
that's
yeah.
that was
Not
probably his
Frodo,
biggest.
it was Samwise.
Gamgee. So he didn't do too much
Yeah.
as a young guy.
No, because I
after,
think
right?
maybe he had like a normal childhood.
Yeah,
but
right.
he's his parents were actors. Like I told you,
Both of
like
them?
the
Yeah,
guy,
you
the
said
dad was
the Addams
the dad of the Addams family, and then the other one I can't remember the mother's name,
Right.
but she's also in one of those like early '70s, '60s TV shows. I can't remember her name
See,
now.
you check this
So,
out
yeah.
though. So Sean Astin
Yeah.
actually was competing for the role of Chris Chambers, River Phoenix's
Oh, really?
role
In Stand By Me?
Because I guess they were all the actors at that time around that age,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember watching an interview where he was saying, man, I really wanted that part. And then he said he saw River Phoenix do it, and he was like, even at that young age, like, man, he did a great job.
Yeah.
That was his part. That was who he was supposed to be, But it's really interesting. So like these kids, this kid actors,
Small circle.
yeah, and then but they also don't know like we were when we were watching, we were like, he's got the world by the balls right now. Like he's like, I'm heading to the top. You know what I mean? But Arnold Jackson or what's his name?
Yeah,
Gary Coleman.
that was Corey Feldman. I was saying that, and it's like little did you know, in the 2000s, he was just like trying to find some kind of reality show that he could be on.
Right.
Then getting a little weird. But Josh Brolin was in there.
Josh Brolin.
He's probably the
right?
most successful out of the
So
bunch.
Later years, though.
I would say he's the most successful just because he dated Diane Lane.
He did.
Yeah, man. He was with her for a long
right.
time.
That's right.
So that's why I was like, you won. What else do you got to do? You don't need to be Thanos anymore.
No.
Oh man, she's one of my favorites. Which is
Yeah.
another movie my kids can't watch yet, but I want to do. Outsiders.
Yeah, that's a
that's
good one.
pretty good. Yeah.
That's an all-star cast.
yeah.
You know.
All like young young guys.
Yeah.
What?
Rob Lowe,
Yeah.
Emilio
Emilio
Estevez, Patrick Swayze, Tom Cruise,
That was
Machio,
loaded, right?
Yeah.
Dylan.
Yeah.
Dude, they said
What's the other
they said they
guy's
had a
name?
blast on that set because they
Yeah, I
were just
bet.
like they were in a small town and they were just like actually one little bar there and they were young but they were, they were
Yeah.
filming the movie so they just had a blast.
Doing drugs,
man.
probably.
Oh yeah, probably. Stu for Johnny. Stu for Johnny. Stay gold, Pony Boy. Stay gold, Jojo. But I mean, I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day. Like,
C. Thomas Howell's the other guy, right?
yeah. So
I can't
he
remember
didn't
his
have. He
name.
had Red Dawn.
Yeah.
I think as an older guy, he's had some TV.
Charlie
Yeah,
Sheen
now
was in
TV.
that. Wasn't Charlie
Red Dawn.
Sheen?
He was in
No,
Red
but he
Dawn.
wasn't in
Outsiders?
No, he
Outsiders
wasn't
too.
in Outsiders. Emilio. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I always mix
But
them up.
see,
Brothers.
this that age. It's like those are like my favorite movies. Like Red Dawn had almost a lot of those guys
Yeah.
in it,
Patrick
and
Swayze.
Wolverines. Like then there's always like some like saying that you remember from those things, But you get guys where these kids who are young and they probably have this idea of what they're gonna do, and it doesn't always turn out that way, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys do when, like Judah, he tells me, I'm going to be an NBA player.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. I just tell him, I don't say, hey, man, it's a small percentage. I just say, hey, man, what do you
your
think
dream.
Russell
Yeah.
Westbrook's doing right now?
Yeah.
You think he's just chilling on, he probably is playing video games, actually. But, I mean, like,
In his
he's good-
hyperbaric
he's-
chamber.
He's good already. He's good already, But, I mean, they have this idea of, like, what they want to do, what they're
Yeah,
going to
but
do.
we all had that like when we were kids. Yeah.
But I mean, you as a parent, like, am I going?
How do you
"No,
respond?
that's unrealistic, or that's everything. Like, I don't want to knock his
No,
dreams down.
no.
you
I
know?
don't think so. Like maybe if he's like 19 or 20 and he's like can barely make the team or something like that. And he's like, I'm gonna make it to the NBA, man. I
Hey,
know it. It's like
it
yeah,
happens.
Focus on school.
It happens.
Pay attention in school.
But these guys, I don't know. But I
And that's way different also because like if you're that young and you're giving a lot of money, like millions
true.
and millions.
That's
of
Yeah,
money.
especially in the States, like
Yeah.
those AAU teams and stuff. You got to travel teams, all those things, man. That
no.
costs
Well,
a
I
lot
mean,
of money,
even
man.
are you talking about
The actors and everything.
So
Or
think about that,
anything.
right? You might be the breadwinner in your family.
Yeah, so you
For
know what
some
I mean?
of these child actors.
Yeah, but I
right?
think that's when the things go
goes bad,
south
right?
because
Yeah, that's what I'm
the
saying.
parents are treating them like a business, not like
Yeah.
a kid.
And then the parents be rolling nice cars because they can't even drive.
Blow out all their the kids' earnings.
And they don't think. And they. What if parents think? How about this? So look at that. Parents thinking, "Yo, my kid's gonna be a star forever."
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And you got these AAU parents
Yeah.
going, "Yo, my kid's gonna be in the NBA."
Yeah.
Right. And you get all these sponsorships and you do these things. I mean, I had I watched this show called it's a really good documentary. It's called Trophy Kids.
Yeah,
on,
I've seen. I haven't watched it, but I
HBO.
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, check it out, man. But it's just this idea of like how much money some of these parents spend, not just for their kids, but with the idea that they rationalize in their head,
As an
hey, we're trying to
investment.
get I'm trying to get a scholarship. You're gonna get a D1 scholarship, and that's what the payoff is. But you spent more along the
They
way.
just save the money and they could've just
So it's not
paid for their
really
kids'
the
school.
main thing, right? Now I'm for supporting the thing, but so in this one case, this dude's dad, who was a basketball player, his dad would get banned from games.
Because he's going all
Yeah. Shouting and all these crazy things. Like he would just like that's what his life was about, and he just he was a fairly successful business guy, I guess. He would just pour money into his son, take him to like professional trainers that the same NBA guys go to,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I mean, and then when the guy got a D2 scholarship,
got mad.
no, he was like, yeah, like in front of the cameras, he was like, yes, see, that was the goal. But before he was saying a D1,
D1.
but I think in my eyes, it was like to rationalize to himself of what he did
Hey,
for it.
But
free is free, man.
yeah, but you know, you putting a lot of unnecessary pressure on the kid. Like if you do that, it's different when you're trying to I'm trying to give him a skill, or I'm trying to give him hard work is important, do all of those things, right? But you're putting a lot of like unnecessary pressure, and then at the same time you're ruining your relationship with your kids because you're treating them as a like I'm gonna get this money back or I'm gonna. So it's different. It's not like it's not like out of love or something like that. So that's gonna be
those are
weird.
like extreme.
Cases,
you know, that's
right.
why it's on television because that's the
You're
extreme.
right.
The guy's in that
Yeah.
case. But like, where do you draw the line on like, okay, I really want my kid to do the best he can. You know, like how do you draw? You know, where do you say? You know, because there's a lot. Let's think about that time, especially like those travel teams.
Yeah.
You're investing a lot of time. Your weekends are shot. Like I know my brother's kid plays baseball, and he plays on like 3 different teams, and like. And they go all over, you know, and I was just like, man, it's like different states, you know, and I was like, shoot, man, and like, I don't think it's every weekend, you know, it's a big pain.
No, I think sports is good. Like the culture of like working hard or doing like that. It's a valuable skill, but I don't want that. It's the pressure of like. If you too much pressure on the kids.
It's got to come from the kid.
Yeah,
like the kid's got to say, "Dad, I really want. Hey, I really want to work on. I want to work on this.
That's it.
Can you help me get a coach to teach me how to
That's-
do it?"
yeah,
That's a different
exactly.
story. But if it's the dad's like, "Hey, hey, your left hand sucks. Let's go work on your left. You know, go outside right now. Do 10 things with your left side, or you know, until you can go
It's
start."
right. A balance, right? So, like where. Like, you know what's better for the kids sometimes and when to push them. But I think you have to be in their life and be present.
You're right.
To know those, like, which is the balance. Like, hey, this is what you said, you know. And also, like, hey, they're not understanding, like, something about practice. So you can help them. But like you said, too, Doug, that if it comes to you, hey, I'm putting you in this thing. He didn't say, I'm putting you in this camp. I'm putting you in this kind of thing. And like, because you get that where the parents are trying to live their life through, and it even is like, the movie or that movie Trophy Kids was an extreme thing, but yet in my experience coaching, like even just JVs, dude, I have parents who are
I'm sure.
You know, wild. And I'm like, dude, come on, man, this is a JV.
Hey man,
game,
but at the
you
same
know?
time, you can hear like most of the successful athletes. You hear their story. You hear that story from them, their experiences like that. So their parents like push them, and now like they're like successful. So
Well, I mean, I think
Not
there
all,
are
but,
stories like that, but I think that there are, you know, people are not, what do you call this? If you look at the top guys, right? I mean, it's very varied. It's like some of them had parents who played sports, so they had a role model for that. And they were just motivated inside of themselves. You know, if it's really outside motivation, I don't think you can go to the top. I think they can prepare you. Maybe you can get to college and all those things. But if it's so much outside motivation and not inside, I think that's when you burn out. And you're like, nah, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to fight this hard for this position in college or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know, but that's just my.
It really is like kind of a life lesson, you know. Like I mean, they can see through the sports. Like, okay, if I put this much work into it, then I'm going to get this much out of it. Whereas they can look at that later on down the road. It's like, hey, I want to have a good job, so I got to really work hard at school. I'll have a good job, you know, or you know, and then or I want to have a nice house or whatever. I'll work hard at my job, and then I'll get promoted. Or, you know what I mean? It's kind of like teaches them the work ethic, you know, and that's what's important. But like, you can't be on top of them 24/7 and just beating them down with it because it's hard, and then it strains the relationship between you and your kid too.
Yeah.
Well, you can. Do you have talk about extreme example? Like, look at the Marinovich thing.
Yeah.
Right. So like Todd Marinovich, right? It got him far.
Yeah.
It got him to the NFL.
Yeah.
But you know, washed out. But also, what was the expectation?
Yeah.
They did all that stuff because to be one of the greatest of all time or something like that. Or actually, his dad wanted to prove his own system too. You know, so
I think that was a different. Yeah, it was more like
ego.
He was just using Todd.
Yeah.
It's
an ego
for his own thing. Yeah.
Marinovich, you know.
Ego thing.
But yeah, so I mean, of course, I don't know, but I was thinking about that though when I was watching the movie because, some of these kids, I was thinking, I don't know, I was just thinking like, whoa, what are these guys doing now? And did they have expectations and things like that? I remember what was funny is in the Goonies you see the Asian kid, right? And he's the what is it called? The
Inventor.
gadget guy because he likes the inventor, because he likes dude, I love that about this movie. When I was a little kid, I always wanted those put booby traps, and I always wanted to have these little things. He wanted to be a secret agent, but my stuff never worked. Man. The best I could do is spray a can of Raid on some fire and stuff like that. I couldn't make anything.
Set up the dominoes.
Tripwire. I'm like, where am I gonna get all this rope? But
blowing balls and everything.
I think there was so much in there that I thought was funny, and then there's also things like the teenage part too, and the guy likes the girl, and I don't know. I remember it. But one thing I was gonna say about the Asian guy, well, he was the kid from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Man. So that's why I thought it was so great. Hey, he's back, man.
But that's it.
Yeah, but see,
that's it.
He doesn't. I read somewhere they just had a recent thing about how these guys in Goonies were where are they now? And like Chunk is like a lawyer.
Yeah.
He never really
did
pursued
anything
acting
after,
so much later on or something like that. But yeah, like Brolin, I mean, he's killing it now, man.
Yeah.
He's Cable. He's Thanos. I mean, No Country for Old Men, dude. That was a
Sicaro.
great movie. Yeah, man. Dude, so he's been in some great movies in the last 8 years or something like that. But he was out. He wasn't there for a while. And again, he's a winner if you got Diane Lane.
Yeah.
But
it's the overall.
The other kid, Samwise Gamgee, he was in the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Rudy.
Yeah.
Back to sports. Rude. That was a great movie. That's a movie I want to show my kids.
That's it's an inspirational movie because he's a walk-on,
Yeah.
So like you say, if you have a dream, you can do it.
Yeah, man. But I mean, it's a cool story, and I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
Too, it's a true story. Of course, I'm sure it's Hollywoodized, somewhat, but he's a real
Invincible
guy.
is another one like that.
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg.
But I could see her here, Judah, right now. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the star guy. I want to be the starting guy. I don't want to be the guy waiting around all season to put me in.
Watch a Waterboy.
But yeah, so Waterboy. Yeah,
Adam Sandler.
I don't think they're ready for Waterboy. I think they would love it.
Yeah, I think my kids just watch Waterboy.
They would love.
I don't think there's no nudity in that.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's just. My kids are already gross enough, and
there's a kissing scene there. Like my kids hide their eyes.
Yeah. My youngest one, James, hides it less than the older one. I think he's more into it than.
Pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ben is peeking.
Yeah. But yeah, it's funny. What's your favorite part in Goonies? Like the scenes that you remember.
Chunk. Or not
Shuffle?
Sloth.
Oh,
because I was wondering if they ever did a remake. Because you know how Hollywood nowadays does remakes all the time.
You're right. Yeah.
Like, I wonder if they would ever cast anybody as Sloth. Because, I think that's like politically incorrect nowadays. You can't have
Yeah. Well, you remember, because in probably in that context. But you remember that movie Mask?
Yeah.
That's another one like that. That was a Cher.
Yeah, Cher was in there. Did she get an Academy Award for that or something? I think,
like
right?
that. Well, she got an Academy Award at some point, but
or was that
Moonstruck, or is that Nicolas Cage?
Nicolas Cage.
Look how much movies we watched when we were in the '80s. But Sloth. There's always like my buddies and I don't know why. Well, one main buddy. We always watched the same movies when we were kids. We didn't know each other till like college, but we always throw these crazy like lines back at each other from So when Sloth, we're always fooling around. He's getting ice cream. Rocky Road, Baby Ruth. Yeah, right. It's like, and you just start laughing. Another one we would do was Troy, such a cheap guy. Because it's so random. Like, why would you say someone's a cheap guy?
Troy.
Data says that. But yeah, I always, I guess as a kid, like I was saying, when we were watching, I always wanted to ride the water slide. You know, I was like, dude, that'd be fun to do something like that. You know, but I don't know. What do you remember from when you were a kid and then watching it now?
I didn't remember that much, because I never I watched it a long time ago. I never watched any until we watched it today, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I was like, I'm not gonna watch it. Yeah. I didn't even let my kids watch it yet. So I'm gonna do it.
Dude, I own it on DVD. Yeah. You know, so because when back in the day when
the only
DVDs came out, I used to buy a lot of DVDs.
The only thing I remember is the pirate ship. That's what I remember. And then obviously Slot, you gotta be.
I just remember that. I always remember them going through the tunnel, you know, and like the fireplace, you know, and
with the booby traps and everything.
Well,
booby traps.
Well, like when we were watching it, even today it cracks me up. I don't know why when he's riding the little girl's bike, Josh Brolin, the guy grabs his hand.
Troy.
I was just thinking, like, what a funny thing to do to somebody. Hold on and drive fast, and his legs are moving so fast, and the wheels pop off. Like, I was so dumb when I was a kid. I loved things like that. But, Brolin, man, that was... So, yeah, I don't know. That's what we were talking about, how I heard they're supposed to make, like, a sequel with... But, it's been around for a long time. Who knows if it's ever going to happen. I think... the director or something, or somebody involved with it, did a Twitter thing one time, like last year, alluding to like they're gonna do it.
I think it came out the same time as like the Stranger Things.
Yes,
came out.
Because
Sean Astin's.
Yeah, he was in there.
Things, yeah.
Oh, you're right.
That's what Sean Astin's doing now. Yeah.
Well,
I
think he's
spoiler alert. He's not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean,
he's in the Upside Down.
Yeah.
Wow.
So wait. Do you guys watch Stranger Things?
Yeah.
I watched a little bit. I didn't watch.
Dude, it's awesome. I loved it.
That's one of the reasons why I do like showing the old movies to the kids.
Because of that.
Yeah. Because
reference and
that's based in the same. Basically, it's based in our era because it's like in around mid '80s.
Yeah.
Like even like the kids in the second season, they're dressed up for Halloween. All four of their friends as Ghostbusters, you know, and the music is all
the
80s.
So like a lot of references.
That's something that Marsha shows the boys because she really likes to show them. My wife Marsha, she likes to show the kids, the things that she had when she was growing up. You know, and so Stranger Things is like she loves that. And that's one of the things that I was gonna ask you too. Like if you watch Stranger Things and if you like it, it's a good show. But the other side of it is it has all those little references.
Yeah, like
only the
Star Wars
references. Because if you're younger,
but isn't it funny though
appreciate that much?
I never thought that I would look at like 80s as a period piece.
Oh yeah, it's so weird.
Used to like the 40s or the gangsters of the 40s or the something like that, and now our childhood is people doing movies in the 80s is a period piece. Like, and that's coming out now, like the next Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I saw that with a Blockbuster and like Blockbuster
video. So yeah, like you were saying, you saw it on VHS. I saw it on VHS. You saw it on TV.
Yeah, it's on TV.
And man, I remember that I was the last person like in like my circle of friends and family.
Watch it?
No, to have a VHS. My dad was not an early adopter.
Yeah, same with us, and then also VHS and also cable. Like we kind of lived like in a far, like we weren't really close into the main part of the town. Like we were a little bit deep in the suburbs. We were closer we lived near a river, and I mean, there's a lot of houses and everything, but for whatever reason, when the cable, like the cable could be on the other side of the road, but they didn't have it on our side of the road yet. And like, so I was missing. I have people like school talking about MTV. I'm like, I don't know what this stuff is,
Can I come over?
Yeah. Like, but when we finally got it, we were like, oh, okay, now I see.
My favorite time was when every certain time of the year, the cable would give you like a free week of HBO.
Yeah.
Because my parents were not paying for
premium
cable. But Jojo's taking an intermission. But
pee break.
Yeah, man, I just we were, my parents weren't early adopters in any of these like technology things, but we were the last to also get cable, and even now, like, we don't get premium cable unless. But actually, you don't need. You got Netflix.
Right.
You have all these other things.
Like
now,
when you
man.
get the free, like that month of like free cable, like free HBO, but you also have free Cinemax, and then they, and then like you just hang out and wait till like after midnight, and then they have all the nudie shows.
That's when they show the rated R. Rated R comes on.
No,
after.
there was like a lot of like soft porn or whatever.
Oh my God! Yeah,
Remember that? Like
I did.
Skinamax. Yeah.
We had. I had to. If I watched that, I had to go to a friend's house.
Yeah, I remember.
Because,
We'd go to this kid's house. He would have a sleepover, and then like everyone would just stay up all night just so you can watch like Tales of the Crypt. And then right after that, there would be some show. But Tales from the Crypt would show some boobies every now and then. And then like one kid, whoever would fall asleep first, would get like hand in warm water or like shampoo and
tickle the nose. And
and like or draw stuff on his face, draw like a big penis on his forehead.
My parents were not. They were not like the sleepover parents.
No, my parents were not either. But I could go over.
Oh yeah. They would because we were over at a friend's house and like they had kids and parents do whatever they're doing and then kids watch TV or something like that. Then if they had cable, but yeah, man, like slumber parties. My parents were like, "Nah, man, you not gonna stay
These
at
kids out of
nobody's
here."
house. That ain't happening, man.
Yeah, same for me. And then like I think maybe that's why to this day I don't even like having people over. Like I'd rather go somewhere.
Yeah.
And like we can hang out all night, but like I don't want you at my house.
Yeah,
Just get out of here.
Yeah, I don't. Do you think that? So your kids enjoyed watching the movie?
Yeah, they liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely
My
liked it.
boys liked it
They
too.
like most of the stuff that I like or that I
Yeah.
kind of funnel towards them.
Yeah.
And
Do you
like
feel like you're doing propaganda on them? Like, hey, this is great. Like, and then do they usually like whatever
I
you like?
I try not to build it up. I go, hey, let's just watch this. Let's watch this. You'll like it. It's good. And then that's. I mean, I don't like I don't
Yeah,
blow skirt up their smoke up their ass.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. But I never. I don't know. I think that there's still things that I remember and nostalgic about. I don't know if they're still good today. Like for them, like where there might be other movies that give the same message, but they're more into it. And like when I watch the movie now, it's like just nostalgic for me. But they're like,
Yeah.
something like that.
Like there's some other ones I like to see, like Weird Science and.
I know that those guys.
I think
watch
they're not
this.
quite ready for that. I
Yeah.
think Ben can see it.
Kelly LeBron.
Yeah, before
Red.
before Steven Seagal got her.
Yeah, that was when he was winning.
Yeah. Like that was a
English,
good one.
English. Say she was a model.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, all those John Hughes.
Yeah.
I'm a huge John
But the
Hughes
language is a little bit suspect for like little
Yeah.
kids. I don't think it's
No.
okay. For Ben, okay, I think, and but not Jake.
But it's weird
Yeah.
in the like those kind of eras.
Home Alone though. was good.
Yeah, but you can't. There's the language, the references. It's politically incorrect. Like even now,
Yeah.
if you watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, have you guys seen? Have you watched any of the Cobra Kai series
Oh, yeah.
on YouTube?
The first like couple that were free.
Yeah, I got the free trial for like a month, so I watched them all in like a day.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really
Oh,
good.
yeah, it's really good.
I like the first 3 episodes. I
Yeah.
thought they were pretty good.
I thought it's a cool take, a cool story, and it actually, for me, I thought it was challenging. I bet some people got offended
Probably
Oh,
yeah.
sure.
because
But
they,
people
because
get
they
offended by anything.
challenged a lot of like what's politically correct today.
Yeah.
Because he's like this old guy, right? In like the 80s, like
And then he lives in
what?
the like,
Yeah,
his
you
mind
just
is like
punch him or like whatever.
glory days.
You
in the
call
80s,
in while I wouldn't say hey talk like that or whatever, but I also feel like sometimes we're like too sensitive or something
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
But it's also funny to see someone who doesn't connect like, hey, we don't say those things anymore.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't talk like that and something like that. But I enjoyed that. I think that's I thought that was a cool show. I don't think my kids can watch that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty
Yeah.
it's I think it's like a
teenager. Yeah.
What
show.
happened after the?
No,
I mean, it's just a lot of. I think there's
Yeah.
I think there's adult themes,
Yeah.
and then just the.
The story takes like a turn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's dark in some
Yeah.
areas, but I mean,
Yeah, but the kids don't watch Stranger Things, honestly.
my
My kids don't.
They got scared.
Yeah, they got scared,
got
so I
scared.
was just like,
So Marsha let them watch the first two, and I think they want to watch it, but they got a little scared. They had to sleep with Marsha after. They let them watch it,
that's no good.
So get out of here. No, but yeah, I don't know. I like to think that I don't know if it's just nostalgia that makes me want to share some of these things,
Yeah.
or if there's it's a great movie or something. So I don't know. I don't know if there's. I think Stranger Things is a real good, like a better Goonies or something in a sense of not because this is I think for kids,
Yeah.
but that's adults can watch it. It's young kids the same age
Yeah.
going on a crazy
I think
adventure.
it's definitely geared towards people of that era, like our age,
Right,
yeah. That were grew up then. So you can
Right.
that I think it's definitely the nostalgia factor because you think about
Yeah.
bring us back when we were kids, and then it's you got, I don't know, for me anyway, you think about, oh man, yeah, I had a pretty good childhood, I had a pretty nice, it was fun, and
Yeah,
so
yeah, it reminds
and
you of fun.
you think about the good times, you don't think about the bad times or whatever, the rough patches, but those are things you want to show your kids, but
Well, I
different.
mean, in the better for us as adults, not just the nostalgia. That's a big draw, but I mean, because it's more serious in a sense. It's this is like a comedy, and you never worried about
Yeah.
these kids dying or something like that, and
Yeah.
even though I
Yeah.
could have fallen down the thing, but this one you're hey, what happened to the guy? I mean, literally. Spoiler, Sean Astin's dead or whatever.
Yeah.
People die in
Yeah.
the thing, So for us, I mean, it's great, but I think that's a good example of movies where these young kids go on these adventures. You remember Explorers?
yeah.
I mean, obviously,
Stephen Dorff, right?
If what's his name, Neil deGrasse Tyson came on there, he would tell you how you can never fly a
Yeah.
trash can into space. But I mean, anyways,
Yeah.
Debunked it. He
see
debunked.
things like that. I liked. I always was drawn to those kind of things as a kid, where a kid is a hero or
Of
gets to
course,
go on
and
cool
because
adventures.
in real life you're just a kid,
Yeah, you're
and
just
you
you can't do none of
get
that.
told what to do, you
Yeah.
can't do anything, and then, but yeah, you would think you get up in the Sunday or Saturday morning and you get on that bike, you think you could go on an adventure, and
Yeah.
we'd ride around the town, go to the creek and look for stuff, try to
Yeah.
find turtles or whatever. You just go on some
Right.
kind of adventure,
Yeah.
and or we would play. All right, let's play Goonies, and then you pick a
Yeah.
character because we had a fort nearby, like an old
nice.
Revolutionary War or Spanish War fort, and then it was open and you could run all around it, Now they had. I guess where we used to keep the ammo or whatever for the big guns that used to be there. They were all open back when I was a kid, but you go there now, that's all chained up and stuff. You
right.
can't go in there. But shoot, man, we would go all around in there, and
That's cool.
we didn't have Nerf guns back then. We just had
Throw rocks at each other.
yeah, our pine cones and gumballs that we would throw at each other. Or we would have our the kind of that would make them
It's like a
propeller in there or something
propeller.
like that, and then you go around shooting at each other. But it was pretty awesome. We would run around in the woods.
That was
Well,
awesome.
that's the other thing, though. If we look at comparing this to Stand By Me too, this is a crazy fanciful thing, right?
Yeah.
But Stand By Me, that's actually something that
Yeah.
could have happened.
That's more
right. You
realistic.
just camping out there, walking away, and walking down the tracks, and
When I was
you
a
know.
kid, I remember Sandlot. That's
yeah.
I like
Sandlot.
that because
Yeah, we're much older already
My
when
kids
that came
love
out, or I
Sandlot.
no, it's sports.
Yeah.
For the kids, it's a sports theme. It's kind of like this, but
Yeah, my kids love the Sandlot.
Yeah, this is more,
really
sports.
They enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, that's a good
you
movie. I've
know.
seen that a bunch of times.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess though, I do want my kids to have some of these same experiences. Of course, I never found a pirate ship, but I was out on my
Adventure.
own with my friends.
Yeah,
Or,
just
did-
the freedom is
Yeah.
what it is that we're looking for.
Yeah.
Is just the freedom. You know,
Yeah.
you're not having someone breathing down your neck.
Yeah.
And
everybody get their bikes, put them in front of the
hey,
store.
Hey,
like-
wash your hands. You know.
Like now you got to worry about, and it's real.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
stealing your bike. All this happens in our right now in our neighborhood in San Francisco. So one of our cousins is a cop there, and they also have these apps, right, of like your next door neighbor and all these things, and they show all the people who are like sex offenders.
Yeah, yeah.
They also tell you what crimes have been happening in the neighborhood, and man, if you look at all that stuff,
It's pretty scary. You never want to leave your house.
Yeah.
you never want to leave your
Yeah.
house. And you know what, dude? So check this out. I was we were helping the next door neighbor. He's an old man, clean out his house, right? And so I was going back and forth across the street, man, and I see these dudes driving in a car, and they throw something out of the car, and it's a box, and then they boom, and they look at me, and then they speed off, right? And so I'm like, dude, what is weird? I grab the box, and it's a box that's been opened, and it's from someone up the street.
Oh, they
So
took their
these
mail.
dudes go around steal, because now everybody uses Amazon so much
Yeah.
and all those things. So now a lot of people have cameras and stuff like that. But there's nothing you can do. I mean, you don't have to pay for it, and you can maybe get it
Yeah.
insured or whatever it is. But people go around stealing people's stuff off of their
Mail.
off of their mail,
Yeah.
off of the delivered packages.
Yeah.
And it takes what you see some people doing that, and a kid sees people doing it, and like these guys want to, I don't know, do something to your kid or whatever it is. But it's just like that's real too, because it's real. So that freedom, maybe that's why everybody just puts their kids in weekend sports and goes to all these.
Yeah,
clubs,
that's exactly why. There's no idle time. These kids'
Yeah.
schedules are, they're so
Yeah.
packed. Especially even here, like, they don't get done studying until 9 o'clock almost. After they finish with their activity, whatever, like, practice that they have, and then they
Wow.
study, and then it's damn near 9 o'clock.
Hey, but remember, even though you want to give your kids freedom, they still should go to jiu-jitsu class at least 3 times a week. No,
Hey,
I'm just kidding.
that's the answer. You want to go around alone?
And then that way, when you have freedom, if someone grabs your hand and tries to take you on the car and press the gas pedal while you're riding your little
Simple
sister's bike,
self-defense.
yeah, man, you can put the elbow towards the wrist, and then you get out of there. You don't have to go flying over
But
the cliff.
you know how, like, nowadays every single second of their day is lined up. They got something to do. Probably because from our era, we had so much free time. All we were doing was getting into trouble and doing stuff we weren't supposed to be doing. It's like, you can't. These kids now can't have any
that's
time
true.
because
I know what you're trying to do.
There was less available.
Yeah.
And I think in the culture, for us, for my family, they weren't used to spending money for entertainment for their kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like, you go play. You want to play basketball? Go play basketball. I'm not going to put league.
Yeah.
And the only thing, if you weren't living next to YMCA, there was no league.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Or if you go little league for baseball, but otherwise,
That's about it. Yeah.
got the park, bro.
Yeah, I remember like flipping over all the couch cushions in the house looking for coins so we can ride our bikes over to 7-Eleven, and like
Get a popsicle.
get
a
some
Slurpee.
Heck, I barely scrape enough money. I can just get the Bazooka Joe, like 5
Oh,
cent,
yeah.
gum, or get enough for a Slurpee, and then go around and like just try and find. There was an old abandoned house. They would throw rocks at the window or something like that.
Yeah, I think I mean, it is what it is. This is the day and age that we live in, and again, too, being here in the Philippines, it's different than being in the U.S. And so that's one thing I'm going through now with my kids going to school in the U.S. Like, they do have a lot of these. Hey, there's an after-school club. There's this, there's that, and James, dude, he's in soccer now, and they got practices, and then they got double headers and all these things, and I'm like, wow, man.
And plus,
And-
they have the little time. They have like iPads, cell phones. Like,
Yeah, but that's the worst thing.
technology
Like, it's so much
also.
better that they have the
Sports.
activities. But I think it's
Yeah.
also a byproduct of now in the States, and even here now, like both
overdrive.
parents work. You know,
Right.
so it's either that or they have to find an after-school program. You know, like or a daycare center or a babysitter. You know, and then or something like that. So now they have this thing that's an after-school program where there's martial arts, basketball, whatever. But they'll pick them up from the school, take them to their facility, do the work, and then by the time, you know, hopefully you're done with work already. And then they're done at the same time. You can pick them up on the way to work, on the way home. You know, but I think that's really what it is. Is now you have all these. Their time is so organized because both parents are working. They don't have anyone to go home to. And I think it's also there's laws. You can't like let the kid stay home. Not like when we were a kid. You know, go home by ourselves and you know, be home alone.
Yeah, well, it's, I mean, it is what it is, you know. But I really, I wonder, like, what excites your kids? You know what I mean? When they see movies, like, as a kid, we watch this, we're like, man, what are they cool? Like, is there things that your kids, you hear them talking about that, like, they get excited about? Like, hey, Judah, he always wants to make practice, like, 3, 2, 1, like make a winning shot, like things like that. He don't really look like he wants to go biking around the neighborhood and things like that. So what are there things that you feel like your kids get excited about that they watch that, hey, I want to do that or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, they like. I mean, they enjoy watching these kinds of things, you know, with me, you know, and like. They're still. I still got them that they enjoy hanging out with me. Yeah. You know? So like,
how long exactly?
They're down. Yeah, they're down with it. Ben is starting to fade a little bit. But,
is he?
Yeah,
you can tell.
I can tell.
So you're like, inviting him out, and
yeah, like, or you know, he's got play. Like, we would maybe plan something, but like, or it's like, hey, we'll do something this weekend. And he's like, hey, is it okay if I go over to my friend's house on Saturday? And I'm like, sure. And like, you know, I don't have a problem with it, but like, but then we'll do something on the Sunday. We'll do whatever. But so, like, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure what it is that they're super like, what they really get excited. Like, he got excited about the new FIFA coming out or whatever.
So video
you know,
games,
and things like that. But like, you know, nothing too extreme.
Do you think, so you have 2 kids, you have 2 sons. You said Ben, your oldest, is starting to say, hey, can I do this? Or, and, you know, and you're like, fine. How do you think it is going to be for you, like, when Jake is at that level?
Yeah,
too?
it'll be, we got a few more years.
Hey,
but yeah.
hang out with me, man.
Yeah. And then, like, we were thinking about that the other day, and like, or I was anyway, and like, it's like, yeah, it's gonna be different, you know, like, because Ben and I were really tight, you know, we did everything together when he was little, and Jake was really small, and then now Ben is a little bit busier, so Jake and I do a lot of stuff together, you know, we have a lot in common, but like, yeah, I don't know, maybe we have to adopt a kid or something.
Yeah. Do you find that, Jojo, like?
Yeah, man.
Well, your oldest are girls.
So it's different. So,
do they want to hang out with their mom?
Yeah, a little bit, but just they. Aika's like she's more of a, like, she likes to read, so she wants.
She's got her own, making her own schedule for herself.
So like, the things that she likes, like doing like. Making writing or something like that. So I'm not. It's like she's more of a, like, kind of like staying like just by herself, like reading or writing stuff. And then she after she writes something, or then she will show me, or she's making like crafts and stuff. She's into that now. She's doing like I think we watch a lot of YouTube, and then we're gonna make I'm gonna make a vase or something. Right. She paints it and stuff, and then and then that's that kind of thing that she's into. So
now your second daughter, Jaja.
Oh, she's more of a, like, she likes sports. She's more like,
so she's coming to jiu-jitsu now on Saturdays. So is that something that she came to you and she's like, and she gets excited about going with you in the morning and stuff like that? And
so that's, she wakes up like super early. She fix all her like gears. she sometimes I'm just gonna leave her because she's like, it was the moment I wake up, she was already there. Like
She's ahead
yeah,
of you.
she had like. She had to fix
Really
all.
unprofessional, man.
Come on, man. Look, this is Rochelle calling me. Come on, man.
You're like, hey, I'm doing a podcast. What? You listen to podcasts and you have to do one? And you won't answer me because you're listening to one and doing one?
Oh, dude.
Hey, she's going to watch this, man. This is on video now. She knows.
Watch what you say. It won't slip up.
But that's funny. 'Cause and so, like, on that day, on that Saturday, she has to hang out with you for at least 4 hours in the morning. Or
And
at
she
least
likes
be
it.
around.
Yeah.
So she enjoys that.
Yeah.
And it's
She
like
got
that.
sick, right?
Yeah, she got sick one time. But like usually on Sundays, that's what we do. Like we just hang out, watch a movie
'cause
together.
Sunday's
Like
your
yeah,
family
so
day.
we don't usually go out. We just stay in the house, watch movies. We cook, we cook something, and then we just like hang out. Or sometimes we go to the
Yeah,
park.
yeah. You know, that's what my kids like to do. They like to watch that Tasty on YouTube or
Yeah.
whatever.
And then-
then
yeah.
like so then we'll go and follow some of the recipes. And
Yeah,
we'll do that.
that's
Like
cool.
we did that. We made like some. I can't remember what it's called. Like something with
Sometimes
eggs.
sometimes
like,
we can't even eat it.
Tomatoes and eggs or something like that.
We just try to. It's a game. Like they want to just like that's my only one of my like free times. The Saturday, the Sunday. So
Yeah, same
like
here.
I make sure I'm in there. Right?
Yeah. For me, I'm really lucky, especially when we're here in the Philippines, because, you know, my kids do the jiu-jitsu class. So if I teach the jiu-jitsu class, they're 4 times a week. They're there 4 times a week. So we're, you know, hanging out, and then we do other things. But it's, you know, in the U.S., Marsha, we like when our time's limited there. She wants them to hang out with their uncles and cousins and stuff. So they go around with them a lot. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be real interesting this next 6 months when we're in the U.S. and, you know, we're not. It's more of a normal life. Like we know that we're not gonna be back here for 6 months, and so getting adjusted to that, they know they're gonna spend one whole school year and over there. And so I'm gonna have to readjust to like what is the U.S. style of, you know, packing in that schedule with your kids,
Yeah.
making time. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But yeah. Hey man, we got a jiu-jitsu class coming.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this up.
All right. Man. We'll do this again.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I know you had a lot of podcasts out there when they talk about a movie, they really get into the movie. You know, I love talking about our families and reminiscing about the old days. You know. So hey, Doug, thanks for bringing the beer.
Hey, no worries.
Oh, man.
Any plugs for
No plugs.
No plugs for Nature's Village, where you
go there.
if you like beer, they have beer there as well, you know. But yeah, guys, thanks for listening to the BC Poppas podcast. Jojo, you got some final words?
Just go to jiu-jitsu.
Go to jiu-jitsu. Those are good words.
BC Marshall.
All right, guys, catch you on the next episode 9. Look for episode 9, possibly. And I might have to edit this out because we don't know if it's going to happen. Possibly with Coach Don Villasin of 6100 Jiu-Jitsu.
What?
Could be a preview or it could be someone else. I don't know. We'll have to edit it. Thanks for listening. BC Poppas. Out.
Peace.
If you want to follow BC Poppas Podcast on social media, we have a brand new Instagram account called BC Poppas. You can also follow BC Marshall and see what's happening in Bacolod City. Find out about where the good coffee spots are, where the good dessert spots are, and what we're doing to teach leadership through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The BC Poppas podcast is also brought to you by the Nothing to Lose Foundation, inspiring our leaders of the next generation. If you'd like to volunteer with the Nothing to Lose Foundation and know more about what we're doing here in the Philippines and in the United States, look at our website at n2lfoundation.com. You can also find us on Facebook at N2L Foundation and Instagram at N2L Foundation.